There we go. We've missed the first little bit. It doesn't matter. Saved it onto my meal plan. Meatballs in red pepper sauce, and it brings up the full recipe for me. If we scroll down, we can see exactly what ingredients we need and what our steps are. It also shows us some different tips and tricks that we can change with this recipe. Okay, so we're going to get straight into it today. We're going to start cooking. I'd love to know if any of you have made this recipe or the other meatball recipes before. Just going to tear that back and pop in 150 of brown onion and some rineless bacon. So I already had some bacon in the fridge, so it's just the bacon pieces. So I'm just going to throw that in. So I'm a really big believer in using whatever you've got. So you could leave out the bacon if you wanted to or anything, which is fine. We've got some day-old bread, and that's just going to help absorb the moisture from the mince, about 40 grams. It's asking for parsley. I'm not putting that in because I'm going to put the herbs in later on. 30 grams of parmesan. Throw that in. Now it's asking me to insert measuring cup. So make sure you've got your measuring cup in and hit next. Automatically comes up with 5 seconds on speed 7. Now you can just flip that around really fast and it automatically stops. Once you flip your dial really fast, it will automatically stop on speed 7. So that's a good little tip there. Have a look at that. No crying here, which is great. Hit next. Scrape down sides of mixing bowl. So when a recipe asks for that, they're literally telling you just to push it down back into the blaze because we're going to cook this off. Lid on. And 500 grams of beef mince. Now, I believe in most of the recipes on Thermomix, you can double the mince in most of these meatball recipes. So today I've just grabbed 800 grams and pop that in. Hit next. Some Italian herbs and whatever else you'd like. You can put whatever you want in. I love adding a bit of chili or whatever, so feel free to adjust your recipes. Remember, it's guided cooking, it's not set in stone. 1 teaspoon of sweet paprika. Smells amazing. And some salt.
Tracy?
Yeah.
Someone in the chat asked why you wouldn't use parsley at that stage.
You can, and the recipe calls for it.
Yes.
But I've already got it in my mix, so I didn't think I needed the extra.
You're also on holidays using what you've got.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the beauty of these recipes. They're guided. You can swap them around. Like, for example, later on, it'll call for 1 garlic clove. Now, I didn't bring any garlic with me, so I have garlic infused oil, which is going to help bring that flavour into the sauce. 15 seconds, speed 7. We're going to mix this around. The beautiful thing about this recipe also is you can freeze it. So you could make up a heap of mince into your balls and pop it through the freezer. So all I'm going to do now, I'm just going to pick that up a little bit and blitz it around. So I'm going to do that again, Mess, because it hasn't really hasn't quite picked up the mince. So I probably should have broken it down a little bit instead of putting the whole thing in one tub, but that's okay. So if you find a recipe that you do need to repeat a step, it's simply hit the back button, 15 seconds, speed 7 again. sounding a bit better. Yes, you can. Yeah, you can increase the spices, and you'll notice that I actually didn't weigh in my herbs and stuff. You can definitely increase that flavour to whatever you like, and you can definitely add different flavours as well. So now it's asking me to transfer into a bowl and set aside. So I've just got a dish here. I'm just going to put it all out on a plate, and then we're going to show you how to make the, so it's all minced up really nicely. Now, another little thing, if you've got 2 bowls, which is awesome, the next step tells you to clean it and dry the mixing bowl. So I'm just going to rinse it through. Otherwise, you would just continue on with another bowl, which is great.
See, Tracy, I probably wouldn't have rinsed that then, because you're going to make the sauce with the same flavours.
Yeah, true. Absolutely true. Yeah, shouldn't have done that. Anyway, I just want to, it's quick and easy. Anything flows here. Anything flows. Okay. So here's my minced meat. We're going to make some balls. So we're going to get the sauce going. So it's asking me for 20 grams of olive oil. Now, also another tip, when you're doubling the meatballs and everything, a lot of these recipes have plenty of sauce, so you don't need to double the sauce quantities. There's a couple of others like the butter chicken and those sort of curries. You can also double the meat, but don't worry about the sauce. Some brown onion, 1 garlic clove. But as I mentioned, I have garlic infused oil, so I'm using that. And that's really good for people if they can't have garlic, the actual garlic bulb. It's now asking me for sultanas, which I don't like, so I'm leaving them out. It is optional. And 100 grams of ripe tomatoes. So I've got little cherry tomatoes because they were on sale. And I believe in saving money where I can. So 100 grams of ripe tomatoes. Insert measuring cup. Ten seconds, speed 8. Once again, just flip it all the way around. I'll show you that. It's great. I love it. I love it. It's done so quick and easy. Have a look at the colour of that sauce. Yum. 10 seconds. Got the base done. Okay. Go back in there. I'm just going to scrape off the lid because I want all the sauce to go back into this beautiful mix. Now the recipe's asking me for chicken stock paste. So I've got my chicken stock paste. Now I make this and freeze it in little tubs, and it makes it quick and easy to get out of the freezer. I'd love to know who else has made the chicken stock paste from Cookie Dew or the vegetable stock paste. They're 2 things that I actually can't go without in my pantry. Worcestershire sauce, which is going to add a bit of tang to it, which is beautiful. Pop that in. And roasted peppers. So I've got here some roasted capsicum, which absolutely smell amazing. This sauce is going to be delicious. So we're going to pop those in. I've just cut them into strips. And they're a great thing to do also when they're going out cheap. You can roast them up and save them to be used later on. Or you could pickle them as well. 100 grams of water. Straight in. And as you can see, the scales automatically weigh that for me. Insert measuring cup. So when you see that on a recipe, we all know it means put the lid on. And we're going to cook this down at 120 for 10 minutes. So I'm going to get that started. Just pop that aside. What the recipe is telling us to do now is to roll our meatballs. So I've got my Verona here. Now, I'm a bit fussy when it comes to, I'm actually not fussy, I need to say. When it comes to the size of my meatballs. So literally all I do is I grab 2 spoons, or Mary's going to show you an amazing toolkit later on that you can use. There's a spoon in that which makes a perfect little meatballs. And I'm just going to scoop them into my Verona, just like so.
This is a great one, Tracy, if you've got little children, to get you to help and roll. If you're busy with, you know, in school holidays, trying to keep them busy.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, Miss, I'd love to know who's, I'm just stirring this through a little bit. I'd love to know who's actually mixed their own meat in their Thermomix. Or, you know, had that roast meat left over. You could use that for this recipe as well. All those sorts of things. I love mixing my own meat, especially the farmers, they love it. So all those offcuts, they think, oh, they're just little bits and pieces. Cut the fat off them, par-freeze them, and throw them in your Thermi, put them down, and you're good to go. See, Vanessa makes her own chicken breast mince. So do I. For my chicken kebabs, which are absolutely delicious. They're another quick, easy meal, the chicken kebabs. I'm doing quite big meatballs today, and I'm going to do some little ones too. So we've got little people here, and we've got big people. So did we have anyone that had made this recipe, Nez?
I actually haven't even made this. I've made the meatballs in tomato sauce for my family quite a lot. And I do mince my own meat because I tend to use a mixture of pork and beef rather than just beef.
Oh, yeah.
Just gives it that little extra flavour. But I'm going to do this one because I actually love roasted capsicums and they're really cheap at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'll show you how many. These are really good. These are a good size. So these are almost like rissoles.
You could actually use that on the barbecue too and fry them off as a nice barbecue in a bun, you know, a hamburger.
Absolutely. So now I'm just going to pop the tray on and roll these out. Remember, we don't have to grease them or anything because we've got enough oil in the mixture to not stick to our Verona. There's another recipe that uses, it's very similar. It's in the basic cookbook and it doesn't use the roasted capsicum. So it's a very basic meatballs and tomato sauce. That one I love to, any leftovers, I'll boil up some pasta and just mix it through the leftover sauce. And I've got another meal. So once again, many uses, quick and easy, midweek, done in a flash. Which brings me back to that book. How many people on here today have had a look at the Meals in a Flash collection on Cookie Do? Pop it in the chat for me if you found that on Cookie Do. Also, pop it in the chat if you don't have Cookie Do. That's even more important. Okay, we're done. We've got some beautiful steam happening here. Our sauce is boiling. What have we got in the chat there, Miss?
Well, a few people are saying that I'm just having a look here, sorry.
Right.
Because mine comes on and then it goes off. A few have said they haven't looked at it. I've had a look, but no one said anything about Cookie Do yet.
Well, that must mean everyone has it, which is absolutely fantastic. We're going to be doing some Cookie Do sessions online. So reach out to your consultant or keep your eye on your Facebook for some Cookie Do sessions to teach you how to get the most out of that meal planning and shopping list as well. So, Maz, I've rolled up my meatballs.
They look good.
They're good. You could definitely put these on the barbecue. So I'm just going to hit next on the recipe. It's telling me it wants another 5 minutes, but you know what? Why wait? So I'm just going to add 5 minutes onto the next slot of time because if I hit next on the recipe, what it's going to ask me to do is put these meatballs on to steam them as the sauce is cooking. So it's just cooling down. Place Varoma dish into position. Now, to get your cap off really easily, you'll notice there's like an arrow at the top. If you pinch that arrow back, it comes off really quick. So I'll just show you this arrow here. It's like a peak. If you get your thumb behind the peak and lift, it comes off really easy. Let's have a look at this sauce. Smells amazing. Yum. The Varoma on top and the tray of meatballs on top. Pop the lid on. You could also throw in some beans, some pumpkin, maybe some little jack potatoes in amongst your meatballs. So you've got that layered happening with a few extra veggies to serve with it. Secure the lid and cook it down for 12 minutes. So I'm just going to add another 4 minutes, Mess. So to do that, I just click on the time, turn the dial up and push it in. It goes to the next screen. Push it in again, goes to the speed 4. Did anyone know that? I only just found that out the other week.
I didn't, and I'm thinking, why are you doing that? Why don't you just touch the screen with your finger?
I used to tap it like this.
Yeah.
To open them up. Now you can actually just hit. There you go.
Is that, Tracy, may I ask, is that the new software download that I did this morning? I noticed that there was a new software download. There
is this morning. I did this, I found this out last week and it worked last week. So, yeah, I don't know, but, you know, I've had a Thermomix 5 years. You've had one for like 15 years and we're still
learning.
Still learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going on speed 4, which is quite a fast speed, in my opinion. So I'm just going to turn it back to 3.5, just so it's not quite so loud while we're on filming today. But that's just going to sit around and do its thing. And I'll come back and show you when I'm done. Do we have any questions for me? Anyone want to come off mute and ask any questions before we move on to our next recipe? No? Beautiful. Okay, let me find Mary.
Oh, yes, I will.
There you go, Miss.
Hello, everyone. Hope you can see me. Is my head missing or am I okay?
Oh, you just chopped off a little bit of your head.
Yep. Sorry, I only have a little iPad that I need to update. So hopefully you can see and hear me well. I'm going to make out of the book, The Quick Fruit Sponge, which is a little bit funny because I'm a pretty good cooker. I consider myself to be a really good cook, but I threw 2 in the bin this weekend and I never throw. I just got it all wrong. So I actually made this one because I thought I can't have a flop in front of everyone. So I whipped this up just before. This is what we're going to make. And it looks pretty good. I haven't had breakfast yet, so I'm looking forward to this. So I've gone into the recipe and it's just, we're going to start cooking. And it's telling me to preheat my oven at 180. That's done. And grease and line a tin, which I've got over there. Now, one of the things that actually asked me when I go into, if I go into the 3 little dots next to the next button and I look at the recipe detail, which I quite often do just to have a look at what they all are, it's actually asking me for icing sugar. And I make my own. I only buy on the whole raw sugar. So I had some in the cupboard, but it was a little bit, because there's no anti-caking agents in it, I had to give it another whiz. But I thought I would show you just how to make it. So with my bowl here, I'll just put some in. So I'm in the recipe. I hit the home button and you can see it comes up with a little green bookmark, which is what I love. If you're in the middle of something, you thought, oh, I forgot to do my Parmesan cheese or my icing sugar, you can just bookmark it go in here and I'm just going to put a little bit in. I'm just making sure, you know, yeah, 100, didn't even weigh it.
I love it. Straight from the pantry, Mez. No muss, no fuss.
No fuss. And now I'm not going to do, actually, maybe I should do that. Oh, it does do that. See, I've learned something new today. I'm just going to turn this up to 9 and leave it go for a few seconds so I've got my icing sugar made. Love that, like the witch's brew here. So I just love that from one raw product, you can make another one. So there's my icing sugar. So I'm going to go back into my bookmark, and it's asking me for 150 grams of unsalted butter. Now, because I've put my bowl back in, it's weighing it. So I'm just going to tear that back to 0 and then do it again because I forgot the lid, and place what I hope is 150 grams or close to it of butter. I've got 144, I think for 6 grams will be fine. Next, and now it's asking me to insert my measuring cup. I'm lucky I've got 2 bowls. And it's just saying turn to speed 2. So basically it has set itself for 100 degrees, and all we're doing is really melting the butter. That's all we're doing. It's also, I absolutely love the fact that you can heat something while you're moving it around. So for example, if you're making a meringue and you want to dissolve the sugar, you can actually turn it on just to 37 and have that sugar melt, which is something you can't do with many, what do we call these things, food processors, thermomix. So I really love the fact that you can do that. So I've got 2 minutes here, or 1 minute left. Is anyone got a question while that's melting?
Yeah, we had, firstly, I just want to say, great tip on the meringue. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you. I would never have thought to do that. So there you go. We learned something else. It's really good. There was a question about mince. People are having, one of our ladies are having trouble mincing the meat properly. What I would suggest, and I should have done that today and I didn't, break down your mince into sort of little chunks as you put it into the bowl. So I threw all that mincing together. Obviously, it wasn't going to turn. And also, if you've got onion and that cooked in the bottom or cut down in the bottom, give it a bit of a lift off, you know, go around the bottom of your bowl just to lift it up a little bit first. Do you have any other tips in relation to mincing the herbs and that through the mince?
There's 2 ways I mince. Sometimes I just turn it up to speed 6 or 7 and just watch what it does from the top. Or sometimes I use turbo. So I find the thing I like about mincing the meat is that you're actually in control. So for some recipes, I like a chunkier style. If you're making like a bolognese, I don't want it really fine. But for other recipes, you want it fine. So I think it's a matter of just trying. Don't always go by guided cooking, because they don't actually always, some of your meat cubes can be bigger than others. So you might need to do it a little bit shorter or a little bit longer. You're still in control.
And that's a really good tip too, because that actually comes back into play a lot depending on when we're doing curries and things, on the size of and the thickness of our beef or chicken. So if we have to alter recipes a little bit.
Yeah, I like having the control. I'm a teacher. I like control. Transfer into a bowl. So we've melted our butter, and now it's asking for our butterfly whisk. And just before I go on to that person that very kindly said to me, maybe I could change my screen, I actually can't at the moment because it's sticky taped to, it's sitting on books, sticky taped to my iPad holder, because I need a new iPad and I can't get out to get one at the moment. So thank you for that tip, but it doesn't, that's the reason I can't do it. So butterfly. Now, there is a little video here, which I love, that they've done. This is quite new, and there's new software updates. So you can hit on that, and it actually shows you. I don't know if you can see my screen really that well.
Yeah,
it shows
good.
You yeah, good. So I have always told people in the past, look at your blades, look for the highest one, and go at 5 to 12. So you just put it in, give it a little bit of a toggle, and I find if it's got resistance, it's right. If it doesn't have resistance, it's not working. So it's not really that complex, but it's a little thing that seems to trick a lot of people. So we've inserted our butterfly whisk, and it's asking for 3 eggs. Now, I don't know if anyone knows me, but I used to teach the Stephanie Alexander Kitchen Garden program for 10 years, and I made my children always crack an egg into an individual bowl, because if you get to the 3rd or 4th one and they're off, there's a problem. So you could do it into a bowl, but when you've got a measuring cup, if I could find where I put mine, it's on the lid. What I generally do is I crack it straight into your measuring cup. You've got to wash it anyway. And you also can then see that, make sure that there's no shell that's going into your mix. And don't let me, sorry, Trac.
Great tip.
Well, yes, I got a bit of shell there, and don't let me forget at the end of here to tell everyone what to do with their eggshells. Don't let me forget. Okay, so 3 eggs. Next, it wants 150 grams of icing sugar. So the icing sugar that I just did, let's see how much I did. We could have a guesstimate. I've got 165, a little bit too much. That's okay, it should be fine. I am a control freak, but I also like to wing it, so we'll be fine. And now all it's measuring now, it wants 2 minutes, and it's just going to give it a good beat. I just have to turn the speed selector to 4, and just like to point out that it's actually got 37 degrees on here, so it's actually going to dissolve that sugar. And it's asking me while I'm doing this, and this is the time efficient that I love. It says, get your rhubarb and cut it up and put it in a bowl. So can you hear me over that, Trace?
Yep. Yep.
Good. It's quite noisy at my ear. I wasn't sure if Zoom had cut it out. So this is for dinner tonight. My neighbours are going to get this one. We're getting very used to getting food deliveries at the moment. I've got half strawberries and half rhubarb out of my garden, because if I have rhubarb, my son won't eat it. So this is one of these recipes. In summer, you could do some beautiful fresh peaches. You could put raspberries all over it and a few little bits of grated white chocolate. I think I can see this being a really great, just a stock standard basic sponge that you can flip around with. Has anyone got any other ideas what they could put as a fruit?
What about like, I don't know, like if you liked a lemon, maybe some lemon rind or something through the
Yes.
That would be lovely, wouldn't it?
It would be great.
I
have a heap of apples. Yes, I would definitely put them in small chunks or fine on the top. I actually think it'll look beautiful fanned on the top.
It actually would. It'd be like an apple slice then, wouldn't it? It'd be beautiful.
Yeah.
I've got some little helpers here with me today, and she wants to cook with a Thermomix. Uh-oh!
Just pass it through to me and she can help me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nearly done.
This is a great recipe, Mez. Like if you've got a phone call, say, look, you know, Auntie Mary's coming over, you can whip this out in like 2 seconds flat, and you've got a beautiful quick fruit sponge on the table for them to enjoy.
You can see here, it's got starting to go that lovely sort of, not creamy, but it's you know when a recipe asks you to cream something and the colour changes, it's got a little bit of that. So it's asking for the reserve melted butter.
Mm-hmm.
And then insert your measuring cup again. Here it is, over here on my other top. And for 3 seconds, speed full. So basically turn the dial around, it's just mixing together really. And then it's asking me to remove the butterfly whisk.
So that's just giving it a bit more air at this stage, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly. And look, it amazes me that apparently an engineer did his whole PhD on the design of this butterfly. I don't know if I'd like him at a dinner party, but I have to say it's a very, very clever accessory. And then it's asking you for 250 grams of plain flour. So, and I'm just using, I actually just buy one flour. I buy an organic baker's flour. So this has probably got a little bit, it's probably a heavier flour than a cake flour, but it went okay for that, you know. I'm just buying them in the 5 kilo lots at the moment when I can.
So Ness, do you use the baker's flour for all your cakes?
Just about.
Oh,
yep.
Awesome.
Just because, again, you know, there's only so much room and I do tend to, that's probably why the sponge, possibly part of the reason my sponges didn't work, because you need a lighter flour. But I just think that the sort of cakes I make are more, you know, home style cooking cakes. So at the moment, you know, we don't want to go out any more than we have to. So 5 kilos of organic baker's flour it is. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So they've asked for plain flour and baking powder, which is, again, if you've looked at your basic cookbook, you'll see recipes to make your own self-raising flour.
Yep.
And 1 teaspoon of natural yogurt. So this is where, if you wanted to, you could put your lemon rind in. You could a bit of cinnamon. If you did the Adelaide that's got all the apples, you could put some cinnamon powder in here.
What about passion fruit pulp? Oh,
actually, Tracy, you've just reminded me of something. Hold on. I made a carrot, like the Caribbean cake, and it's got crushed pineapple, and I've got just the tiniest bit. It's probably not even a tablespoon of that, but
yum.
waste. And it's also asking for 60 grams of milk. So beautiful full cream milk from a local dairy here. And I've got 70, but that's okay. This is probably why my sponge didn't work.
Oh, love it. Use what you've got.
Yes.
That's what it's about.
And a pinch of salt. And someone asked me where I got my organic baker's flour from. We are very lucky in Ballarat. We have a place called Ballarat Sauce or Bulk Sauce down in the Eastwood Shopping Centre. It's a beautiful place to shop at, and you can buy the 5 kilo bags. And what I love about that place, it's all about low waste. So you can buy raw sugar, you can buy Rapid sugar, you can buy, you know, if you want to buy nuts at the supermarket, they come in packets of like 120, and sometimes you only need like 80. So you can go and buy exactly 80 grams of nuts. So it's definitely a place to go and look at. And now for 5 seconds, I've just got to speed forward. Transfer batter into prepared tin and smooth with a spatula. So I'll just show you the consistency of it. So it is more a cakey than a spongy sort of consistency. I'll pour it this way. You can see all those beautiful little vanilla bean seeds in there. And before we go back to you, Tracy, I just thought I'd show them just a little trick about turbo.
That'd be great.
So awesome. I know one of the things about a Thermomix, you know, as kids we used to lick the bowl. It's a little bit tricky with blades, but what I do here is, if there's a little bit left and you want to finish it, I don't like to waste. Go back to your home button. It will bookmark your recipe again. Put your lid on, and as long as you haven't used the heating function, swipe across to the left, hit turbo, I do it for 2 seconds. And what this does is it just flicks everything from the edge of the blades to the outside of the bowl. And that is a great way, like, you know, you don't want to wash all that away in the sink. So I use turbo often, particularly for cakes, just to make sure that I get all the mixture out. It's also a great function if you're cleaning, if you want to give a really quick clean, rather than use the pre-clean. It's a really quick way to give it a quick wash. So there's our sponge. I've got to use my spatula, and then I've got to put my fruit on top and a couple of tablespoons of raw sugar, which I will do in a minute. Okay, so Trace, what would you like to do? How far have you got left on yours?
Well, I can flip over while you're doing that and just show the finished product.
Okay.
And then we'll flip back at the end. How's that sound?
That sounds perfect to me.
Great. I hope you've enjoyed that. Oh my God, what a quick sponge cake. I did that a few months ago, one afternoon. I had my sister coming over. It was like, you know what, I'm just going to throw it together. And it was like, you know, done. And then on the table. So very much appreciated when you walk into a house and you can smell that beautiful quick sponge. Another great dessert as well. You could serve it with the custard. It'd be beautiful.
Well, we'll be having it with custard tonight, Trace.
Yum. So my meatballs are finished, which is great. And the beautiful thing is I've been here sitting, talking to Mary and interacting with all you guys, and it's been cooking by itself. And that's probably the best thing about a Thermomix. So just be mindful when we're lifting off the lid, we move it away from our face, always away from your face, so you don't get a bit of a steam bath happening. I'm just going to take the meatballs off the tray. They're here. So they're cooked beautifully. There was a suggestion in the chat that you could fry them off if you want them to be caramelised, or throw them in the oven for 5 minutes if you wanted that crunchy on the outside. But mine are beautifully done. The mince, steamed mince, if someone would say, I'm going to steam some mince meatballs before Thermomix, I would have said, I'm not eating that. No way. I'm not eating steamed food. Meat. Chicken breast, tenderloins, pork, roast lamb, whatever you want, give it a try because it's absolutely delicious. So here's my meatballs, and I'm just going to pour the sauce over the top. Have a look at this. Can you see that colour coming through? It is delicious. It smells amazing. I wish I had smell-o-vision. As I mentioned,
you can then bake them in the oven too with some nice cheese on top if you wanted to.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was just going to say, and you could freeze it exactly. Instead of doing the meatballs, you could do the whole thing and freeze the whole thing if you want to, which is awesome. So I'm just going to quickly show you how I clean my bowl. I literally put some water in the bottom, and I'm going to hit next on that. That's finished. I'm going to flick across to my new mode, which is pre-clean. I'm going to put the lid on and the cup. Bring myself back up a bit. Hit pre-clean. And because I've done some browning and some fat, I'm going to move the dial right around to the fat or caramel, and that's going to heat up and cook and get all that yummy goodness off the bottom of my bowl. So that's another tip. Pre-clean I use every single time. I'll dish up the meal like I have now. I'll go and eat with the family, and this is cleaning itself for me. Let's have a look at this. Hang on, Mez. I'll just add you into my screen. I can find you. Here we go. This is. So here's my meatballs. Have a look.
Yum.
They just smell amazing. And you could definitely pop some cheese and pop them in the oven for that, definitely. So, which is beautiful.
Tracy, can I tell a story?
Yes.
One of my girlfriends is Austrian, and her 3 boys, their big request was always meatballs on pasta and sauce. And Caroline said, I used to dread it because it would take, half the day. She now does meatballs. She goes, if you'd ever told me I would have steamed meatballs, she said, I actually prefer the delicate flavour. And there's another tip I will give you, that sometimes it's when you steam meat, they look a little bit grey, and I understand that. But if you paint with a brush a little bit of soy sauce on them before you put them in the steamer, that also really helps with the colour if it's a visual thing.
Absolutely. And mixed herbs as well. Another little sprinkle on the side. Or, as we mentioned before, brown them off on a fry pan. Mez,
yes.
We are intrigued. We want to have a look at that beautiful sponge. And then we want to have a look at your egg tip.
Okay, so here, can you see my sponge?
Oh, that looks amazing. Yum.
It looks really, I'm touching with my fingers. This one's cooled down now, but it looks, what I will do is I'll just cut out and show you the texture, because one of our deals at the moment is this book and this free toolkit. Now, people are going, oh yeah, it's a toolkit. I've had mine I've been a consultant for 8 years. This goes with me everywhere. So this is the spoon that you were talking about, Tracy. It's beautiful German quality. That's their ice cream spoon. It's got one hell of a little sharp paring knife, the scissors, they're poultry scissors, another sharp knife. This one here, and I'm going to use this to cut the cake. This is a true story. We went on holidays to Port Stephens and the boys went fishing. This knife, because the one that was in the flat was pathetic, this knife cut up a whole ocean trout. So they're really sharp, great to cut bread with. So whenever I go away, this little toolkit goes with me. So if I was where you were, Tracy, I would take it with me, just because I hate going to places and not having a decent knife to cut with. Absolutely. So there's I don't know if you can see that.
Oh,
but it's
yum. Just bring it in a bit closer, Wes. Oh, yum.
So it's not like Nana's high sponge, but it's good.
Light and beautiful.
That's my breakfast.
Good on you. How long did that sponge take to cook on the recipe?
20 minutes. 20 minutes. So it says 20 to 22. I've got the other one that I've done in there, but I will show you that quick tip. So, bowl, I fill it with a bit of water. I've got a lemon left, half a lemon left from my breakfast, lemon water this morning. Put those eggshells in. Put my lid on. There it is here. I whiz them up. I'm going to go back out of here. I just give them a quick whiz, blitz them. And then what I'll do is, to give my bowl a sparkling clean, I'm going to put that on for like 15 minutes while I clean up. When we're finished, I'll put it on to about 85 degrees, speed 1, and it will just clean my bowl, make it sparkling clean, and also give my house a really nice smell. And I've used things that normally you just tip out, and you just tip it on the compost when it cools down, please. You don't want to burn the worm.
Do you add a bit of water, Mez? No.
Yep, till above the blades. So,
okay.
So it's sort of a bit hard to see. It's just to the blades.
Yeah. Awesome.
It smells beautiful already, just that lemon. So, yeah, and then just let it cool down and put it on your compost heap or the garden.
Great tip. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed our session today. We've so enjoyed having you here. We'd love to talk to all those beautiful TM5 owners about how you can burn your own Thermomix 6 or get one on your bench. And your consultant is more than happy to help out with that. I'll also give you a little tip. If you haven't had a personal demo recently, you need to hold one in October, because the host rewards are amazing. So make sure you reach out to your consultant, book in a date where we can come online one-on-one or well, not one-on-one with 2 of your friends and do a smaller group event, which would be absolutely awesome. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, everyone,
Thank
for
you,
coming.
Tracy.
I'm going to bring everyone back together. Here we go. I'd love you to come off, pop your cameras on and just wave us out to our next one, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow. We've got another event on tomorrow morning. Bye. Great
Bye.
to see you all.
Thanks for being in our kitchens.
Yeah, it was great. The chat was awesome. I love that interaction. It's really good.
I'm just enjoying seeing people.
Yeah.
I'm getting a bit sick of my own company.
Yeah, it is exactly like that. And Don, thank you for your comments in the chat. You've been participating really well today and appreciated all your comments. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed today's class. Yeah, she's just trying to get off mute. Okay, I'm just going to stop that recording.